I don't think it worked. There, now, okay, we're live now.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Good evening. My name's Liz Danielson, and I will be your chairperson for tonight's hearing. I'd like to introduce you to the other members of the Land Division Committee, Pat Kennedy and Bill Blakes. And we have another planner with us, Les Jagoda, who's going to be helping us. This meeting is held through remote electronic participation in accordance with the Municipal Act 2001 as amended. The purpose of the hearing is to give applicants or authorized agents the opportunity to discuss their applications with the committee and to respond to written submissions which may have been received. It's also an opportunity for the committee to broaden their understanding of the application by asking questions. Members of the public who are participating virtually today may also make oral submissions to the committee, whether they be for or against the application. The procedure we use is to hear the applications in the same order as they were received in our office. Our Secretary Treasurer, Lisa Gillen, will introduce each application and our planner will provide a planning brief. When participants registered for the meeting, the file number of the application they have been interested in was noted by staff. Participants wishing to take part in the hearing will be admitted virtually to the meeting. Participants will be provided approximately 5 minutes to speak to the committee. As the chair, I will then ask each member of the committee by name if they have any questions. So we'll now proceed with the agenda for this evening's meeting. Are there any additions to the agenda as presented?
There are none.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the, you guys are going to be busy tonight. Could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the agenda as presented? Pat and Bill?
Okay, so be it resolved that the minutes of the Land Division Committee meeting held April 12th, 2021 be approved as printed and circulated.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any declarations of conflict of interest?
Nope.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes of our last meeting?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Bill, seconded by Pat.
Be it resolved that the minutes of the Land Division Committee meeting held April 12th, 2021 be approved as printed and circulated.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. I'll now ask our Secretary Treasurer, Lisa Gillen, to introduce the applications for this evening's hearing.
So first we have business arising from a previous meeting, and the first application is item 5.1, file number H-004 of 20. The owners are Edward and Lynn Barber and Richard and Susan Ronchka. Location of the property is part lot 14, concession 6, geographic township of Stanhope, now in the township of Algonquin Highlands. The purpose of the application is to create a new lot together with an easement for right-of-way, and we do have the agent. I can let them in now, or you can have a discussion and I can let them in after.
Let's hear the report from our planner and then we'll invite them in to speak to, or they can join us and then speak to us after Les's report.
Okay. So Chris, you've been upgraded to a panelist for this file. You're muted at the moment. There we go.
Can you hear me there now?
Yep.
Yes.
So Les, I would say your report. No?
Thank you, Lisa. This was submitted last year. They have two buildings on one lot. So the application was to sever into two lots to accommodate the two different buildings. The planning report generated last year before I was here essentially took a look at everything, and everything conforms to policy and procedure. There is a open shoreline road allowance that was asked to be applied to the retained and severed lots. They would add the air to the area, but they still be short of lot frontage. And I believe there was a zoning application for that. I haven't been apprised of the status of it yet. I understand that provisional consent was given last year, and main purpose is to address the Bell conditions. Perhaps the applicant can elaborate a little bit further. I'm less familiar with this application from last year, but that's pretty much the snapshot of that. Lisa?
Chris, if you'd like to go ahead and speak to the application.
Sure. So we made an application for a change of conditions on this one because one of the conditions originally was for the creation of an easement to Bell over the retained lands. Bell isn't a public company, so in order to give an easement to Bell, you actually have to go through an entire second consent process to create it. So we asked for a change of conditions, basically to avoid our applicant having to go pay for a second severance just for Bell, to have that condition removed on the retained lands, as it's not subject to this severance.
And it's my understanding that Bell have gone through the process separately from ours in the past. Is that correct?
Yeah, unlike hydro, who are treated a little more like a county or a township, they're still a public corporation, so they can take easements without having to go through the public consent process. Bell, however, is a private company, so they don't enjoy such benefits. So for them to take an easement, they have to go through the full consent process, no different than a private individual creating a right-of-way or something similar. So we just felt, Bell asking as a private entity asking for an easement on a property that's not subject to the severance over the retained lands was just above and beyond what should be required as part of the severance. So we've asked for a change in conditions on that.
That it would seem to me maybe a bit onerous for the applicant to have to go through that process themselves.
Yes.
Do any of the committee members have questions of either our planner or Mr. Bishop?
None from Bill.
Pat, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Les. Is this a normal way of proceeding? This is the first that it's come up before me as a member of this committee. We're requesting to not go along with the consent for Bell. Was that what's your past practice or past history with that?
Thank you, Pat. I'm less familiar with that process, to be quite frank. I would suggest that I'm really unable to address that right now. I don't have a background on that. I think Chris elaborated quite well, and if you could just maybe clarify, I apologize for that.
If I may.
Go ahead.
So this and the other two files that we will be hearing tonight with the request to remove these conditions were brought forward while Charles C. was still working here, and she and I had the discussion to proceed this way. The applicant paid a fee to have the change of conditions considered, and we did discuss the fact that the portions of the easement in this application, as well as the two that will be heard after this, are not entirely on the portions to be severed. In this case, it does cross the lands to be severed, but it's also on the retained. In the following two files, it's not on the severed portion at all. And we do have applications in the office where Bell applies for easements over lands in and of themselves.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bill, did you have any questions?
No, sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like we can put a motion on the floor unless, Chris, you have anything further to add?
Nothing further on this one.
Okay, and there's no one else who wishes to speak to this application, or is there?
Well, I have a further point that this particular application was also brought forward with a request to change the easement that was originally granted. So not just the Bell easement, but there was an easement for right of way for access to the property owner. So if the conditions as presented may differ from the past because of that easement. So I just want the committee to be aware when making their decision.
Are there any concerns about that? Okay,
Can I speak to that, or should the?
no, absolutely.
Okay, so just the fact that typically we grant easements only to what is needed for access. So if we could ask the agent to speak to why this portion of the easement is needed for access.
Yeah, we made a change simply because of the location of the driveway on this one. So originally we tried to split the lots more or less straight down the center, but where the roadway crosses the center of these two lots, a portion of the driveway feeding the westerly lot actually crossed that center line. So we had to apply to grant a little easement to it on that side.
Any questions?
Lisa, could you pull up the map, please, and maybe get Chris to walk us through this?
Do you want the sketch that was submitted, or do you?
Yeah, the sketch would be great. It just, I'm still a little bit confused here. Sorry.
Okay. I can't pull it up. Oh, I can pull it up on the civic website. Yeah, just one sec.
I'm not sure if everyone can see it. I can hold a version up in front of my face if that works for you, Pat.
I'll be able to share the screen.
Okay.
I just need to ask.
I've got it here, Chris, just the yellow line. Is that the new easement you're looking for, the movement, or?
Yeah, so that'll take the basically it'll give access to the second lot through the first one over to the driveway.
I've got it there.
Yeah, so it's the section colored in yellow.
Okay.
Any other information that you wanted to provide, Lisa?
No, that's all from me on this one.
Okay. Any further questions?
No, I think I got it.
We got it now. Thank you.
Okay. So could I have a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor? Moved by Pat, seconded by Bill.
So for application H-004 of 20, the decision is that provisional consent be granted with the change of conditions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's carried. Oh, I guess I'm sorry. You should read the resolution. I ask everybody's patience. This is the first time that we've been, that I've chaired.
So, okay, so the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes our decision to the consent application described below. File H-004 of 20, owner Edward and Lynn Barber and Richard and Susan Ronchka, part of lot 14, concession 6, geographic township of Stanhope, now in the township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of application to create a new lot together with an easement for right-of-way, decision that provisional consent be granted. And then I do have the conditions, but whether the agent has read them or not, I can read them aloud or not.
Have you
I've
read the-
through.
Okay, and you're all right with the conditions?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor then?
Aye.
That's carried.
So next, again, under business arising from a previous meeting, we have item 5.2, which is file H-005 of 20. The owner is Marion Mandel. Location of the property is part of Lot 3, Concession 6, Geographic Township of Minden, now in the Township of Minden Hills. Purpose of the application is to permit a lot addition to abutting lands.
As the report from last year indicated, everything is met in terms of policy and procedure. Consent was granted provisional consent. In terms of the township, they were the frontage would have been a little bit short, but the township expressed that they're okay with that in terms of zoning and frontage. So they don't really require a rezoning or minor variance application. So they're good with that as it is. And once again, I'm sorry, I don't have the history on this, but trying to get familiar with it. That's essentially the case. And if maybe if you can ask Lisa, perhaps Lisa, if you can just indulge me a little bit and let me know if there's anything different than that.
It's just that this is being revisited again to ask that the bell conditions be removed. And the agent is Chris Bishop as well. So he's still a panelist. So if you have questions for him.
Chris, do you have any comments you want to make on this application?
Not much. This one, similar to the last one, we had a condition for an easement for Bell. In this case, Bell doesn't cross the severed portion whatsoever. So the easement would be through the retained lands and the benefiting lands, neither of which are the subject of the application. So this was, again, an ask for a change of conditions to remove the condition that a separate application be entered into strictly for a Bell easement.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions?
No, it's pretty clear.
Anything more that you want to add, Lisa?
Oh, not for this one.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder for the resolution, please?
Move it, Bill.
Moved by Bill, seconded by Pat.
So the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below, H-005 of 20, owner Marion Mandel, location of the property, part lot 3, concession 6, geographic township of Minden, now in the township of Minden Hills, to permit a lot addition to abutting lands, decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried.
And finally, under business arising from the previous meeting, we have item 5.3, which is file H-015 of 20. The owner is Lauren Heiss. Location of the property is part of lot 3, concession 2, geographic township of Stanhope, now in the township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application is to permit a lot addition to abutting lands. And Chris is the agent for this file as well.
Did you
Thank
wish
you,
to
Lisa and Chris, helping me out from last year's application. So this was granted provisional consent to add a small portion for a garage. It was granted provisional consent as mentioned. In terms of the lot addition, it will require rezoning in terms of lot frontage deficiency. I haven't been apprised of the status of that yet. Maybe Chris can enlighten us with that.
Yes, this one's almost identical to the last application. So we're moving through the regular conditions. We just had a change in condition to remove Bell again, as the Bell line doesn't cross the severed lands whatsoever in this case as well. So we had no change required to any other conditions in the original consent.
Okay, if there are no other questions on this, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to hear the resolution.
Move it.
Bill, and seconded by Pat.
So the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application number H-015 of 20, owner Lauren Heiss, location of the property, part of lot 3, concession 2, geographic township of Stanhope, now in the Township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application to permit a lot addition to abutting lands. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's carried.
One moment. So I'm going to leave Chris again because the first file under our new business, he's also the agent for. So it's item 6.1, file H-010 of 21. Owner is Kevin Murphy. Location of the property is part of lot 20, concession 16, geographic township of Cardiff, now in the municipality of Highlands East. Purpose of the application is to create a new lot.
Thank you, Lisa. The application, it's a 40 hectare property. It's 4 acres that they want to sever off to make a new lot. There's 3 types of designations on the property. The majority is rural designation. There's also was identified a vacant barn in the area, which requires a minimum distance separation formula that was completed and detailed and conformed, so it meets the requirements of MDS 1. There is a section of the road, our airport road, that travels onto the travel portion rather goes onto the applicant's property, and the municipality of Highland Hills is asked that that be resurveyed, conveyed at the applicant's expense to basically take the traveled portion off the applicant's property and realign it with the road allowance. In terms of the designations, most of it's rural, as mentioned. There is some environmental protection towards the southern end, but it's commented on by the Crow Valley Conservation Authority that it doesn't have any concerns. Just identifies the fact that it's there and provides their usual guidelines in terms of conservation. Lisa? Thank you.
Chris, did you wish to speak to the application at all?
This one's fairly straightforward. I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. It's a large parcel and a fairly large lot being created out of it. I think the planning report covers everything we need to on this one. I did have a question for Lisa on condition 6. I'm not sure if this is the time for that or not.
I would say yes.
Okay, just in that condition, I know what we're getting at there, that we need some sort of sketch to confirm bylaw compliance on the retained lands. Just the term site development plan sort of encompasses looking at drainage and potential building and septic sites and that sort of thing. So maybe just a change to that condition that it's an OLS confirmation of zoning compliance for structures on the retained lands. And again, you can leave that to the satisfaction of the local municipality. By just a site development plan just didn't seem to fit there.
Right. And so just on that, so the municipality did request a registered drawing. So I was working with the wording that they had given. So I think like I understand what you are saying, and I think it, like, I would put the question to Les. It's just that let me pull up the wording that was given by the municipality of Highlands East, so then the committee can make the decision, because if the condition that's approved isn't correct, then you'd have to come back to ask for a change of the condition. So we should get it right before the decision is made. Okay, so they've said a copy of all reference plans associated with this application shall be provided to the municipal CAO, treasurer of the municipality of Highlands East, for approval prior to registration, and that the sketch of survey illustrate the location of existing buildings and structures to allow for a review of zone compliance. So that was the wording from the municipality of Highlands East. So, and that is in the report that's on the iCompass agenda. So I may have erroneously used the term site development plan because that was a wording of one of our standard conditions.
Sure.
So, yeah, if the committee feels comfortable with adjusting that condition, then we can do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So if you can make that change to the resolution.
Sure. So, Chris, if you wouldn't mind repeating how you referred to the drawing.
Sure. We'll just call it a sketch to illustrate the zoning compliance of buildings on the retained lands.
We'll say an OLS sketch.
Yeah, an OLS to provide, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Bill here.
Yeah,
It's 4 hectares. It's not 4 acres. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So could I have a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor? Moved by Pat, seconded by Bill.
So the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-010 of 21, owner Kevin Murphy, location of the property, part of lot 29, concession 16, geographic township of Cardiff, now in the municipality of Highlands East. Purpose of the application is to create a new lot, and the decision is that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried.
So I'm just going to move Chris back to the waiting room. We have a different agent and 2 property owners here for the next 2 files. So I'll just let them in before I introduce. Okay, so, and the 2 files are together. So H-010 of 21 and H-012 of, sorry, H-011 of 21 and H-012 of 21. The owner is 2697507 Ontario Inc. Location of the property is part of lot 25, concession 2, geographic township of McClintock, now in the township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of both applications is to create a new lot, so 2 new lots, 1 for each application.
The applications are obviously together. They meet all the policies and procedures. In terms of zoning, they would have to be from current rural to shoreline residential, and there is an application that has been applied for. I don't know the status of it yet. It should be coming through, or maybe it came through lately, but the applications, everything is in order in terms of frontage area, policies, studies, and perhaps the applicant can just elaborate a little bit on it. It is resource-based residential. So if perhaps the applicant could speak to it a little bit. Everything is in order from a planning policy perspective.
Yeah, hi, Lanny Dennis, excuse me, Wayne Simpson and Associates, 3-76 King William Street, Huntsville, Ontario, P1H24. Good evening, Madam Chair and Committee, and Mr. Jagoda and Lisa. I think that's a fair and accurate assessment presented by staff. Certainly concur with them to approve the applications. It does, and it's pointed out quite candidly in their planning report, the staff report, that the application meets all governing policy requirements, but will require zoning approval and site-specific building permit control measures. And I'll elaborate on that in just a minute. All the lots have a minimum of 90 meters of frontage. and and are well in excess of the 0.8 hectare mark, coming in on average around 1.4 hectares. So they're fairly large size lots that are proposed to be created. There was an ecological report was prepared at the request of staff and in policy documents, and it had a satisfactory peer review be returned. The zoning has been approved by the Township of Algonquin Highlands. So that's been finalized. So the lots do comply. It was rezoned from rural to shoreline residential too. So the lots do comply with that. It had a draft site plan completed that implemented the mitigation measures as noted in the ecological report. So there's outside of the docking locations, or well outside of the type 1 fish habitat. It's respectful to the 30-meter setback from the shoreline, and any other mitigation measures mentioned by the ecologist will be implemented through a 5126 agreement that we have to enter into with the Township of Algonquin Highlands. All the information as requested by staff was prepared and submitted, and we're at this point. I don't believe there are any public comments at the meeting tonight, so I think it's gone through the proper process, and we're here today. This clarification on the OSRA, and I spoke to both Sean and Lisa this afternoon about the condition relating to closing the OSRA on the retained and severed lots. It's only to be on the severed lands and not on the retained. So I think that paperwork was forwarded to committee. As mentioned previously by Lisa, we'd like to try and get the wording as close as to correct as we can before a decision is made. So anyways, having said that, I respectfully request committee approve the applications. Thank you.
Lisa, did you have anything to add to that?
Just to confirm, so I did receive an email from Lanny noting that on the preliminary comments from the township, they had not requested that the portion of the shore road allowance connected to the retained be closed, but on their final municipal comments, it was included. So we clarified with their planner, Sean, and he said, yes, in fact, it was only meant to be the portion connected to the severed parcel. So Sean did confirm that, and I did forward that on to the committee. That's all I would add.
Okay, thank you. Do the owners wish to speak to the application?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Do committee members have questions?
Is that item number 7 on the municipal comments about this road allowance? That'll have to be amended, eh?
So on the final conditions, it's condition number 9. The ones from the municipality, let me just open the file to confirm. Yeah, it was number 7 from the municipal comments, but on the final conditions, it's number 9. So what I've done and will do when I provide the final notice of decision is just crossed out both the retained and just made it closed for the severed parcel.
Okay.
If that satisfies the committee.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, so if I could have a mover and a seconder for the first of the 2 applications, moved by Bill, seconded by Pat.
The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-011 of 21, owner 2697507 Ontario Inc. Location of the property, part of lot 25, concession 2, geographic township of McClintock, now in the Township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application to create a new lot. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. So I'm assuming that there are no additional comments that need to be made about the second application, or are there?
The same, condition 9 will have the same change to remove the retained portion, but just the severed, shore road allowance portion will be closed up.
Okay. Lanny, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. Thank you very much for your time this evening, committee. Lisa, Les?
Any questions from the committee?
No.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to approve the second application? Pat, and then Bill?
Yep.
So the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-012 of 21, owner 2697507 Ontario Inc. Location of the property, part of lot 25, concession 2, geographic township of McClintock, now in the township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application to create a new lot. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried.
So I'm going to move our attendees back,
Thanks, folks.
and then I will bring in Ryan Vincent, who is the owner of the next property in Andrew Falls. There's an owner listed as Warren Falls. This may be the same person with a different legal name, but he is registered to speak. And then Ryan is definitely one of the property owners. So we have file H-013 of 21. Owners are Kelly and Warren Falls and Barbara and Ryan Vincent. Location of the property is Lot 11, Plan 621, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. The purpose of this application is to permit a lot addition to abutting lands.
Thanks, Lisa. There are 3 adjoining lots. This is on Drag Lake. So there are 3 adjoining lots. The middle one is lot 11. It was part of subdivision 621. So the lot 11, the one in between the 2 abutting properties is vacant. The applicants, Falls and Vincent, want to equally divide the vacant lot and add it to their parcels. If they do so, then all policies and regulations, lot sizes, frontages will conform. So it's pretty straightforward in that regard from a planning perspective. They're existing cottages essentially, so they're just adding the vacant lot between themselves. Chair?
Did you have anything to add, Lisa?
No.
Okay, either Mr. Falls or Mr. Vincent, did you wish to comment? And maybe you could just clarify, Andrew, are you the same individual as Warren, or what your association with the application is?
You're just on mute, Andrew.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I go by Andrew. It's Warren Andrew Falls. I go by Andrew.
Okay,
I have nothing to add to that. No, straightforward, I think.
Yeah, it's Ryan here. I have nothing to add either. We agree with the staff report and the conditions that are in it, and we respectfully ask that the committee approve the report.
okay, do the committee members have any questions?
No.
Well, that's easy. Could I have a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor, Pat and Bill?
The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application number H-013 of 21, owner Kelly and Warren Falls and Barbara and Ryan Vincent. Location of the property, Lot 11, Plan 621, Geographic Township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to permit a lot addition to abutting lands. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
And you gentlemen understand the conditions?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do. Yep.
All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
That's carried.
You.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to move them back out from being panelists and bring in Chris Bishop, once again, is the agent for the next file. And then we also have the benefiting landowners who are Dan and Diane Molnar. So I'll just bring them in. And so we have file H-014 of 21. The owners are Ronald J. and Carol Ann Heeman. Location of the property is part of lot 7 and 8, concession 8 and 9, geographic township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application is to grant an easement for right of way.
Thank you, Lisa. The application, as viewed from a planning perspective, is not extending a private road. It's to use the existing road, enlarge it at a certain portion, and call that the easement to access the lot. It's not extending it, it's just revising it. There was a letter provided by the surveyor back from 2000, or no, a letter provided by the surveyor, and Mr. Bishop can speak to this a bit, confirming that the road was established and used continuously since 2012. So if Mr. Bishop can elaborate a little bit on that, in that regard, it's not extending the road seen from a planning perspective, just enlarging, sort of creating a bump out so they can use that through an easement to access their property. Mr. Bishop.
Yes, we back in 2012 actually performed a survey and completed a reference plan of the road as it already existed at the time. It was registered as 19R 9412. So this application, like staff just said, we're looking to bump out on the existing road a little bit to create a driveway access for one of the properties along it.
Chris, you broke up there for a minute. I'm sorry. Could you just go back just a little bit?
Sure. So I just confirming that we surveyed this road as it existed in 2012 and created a reference plan of the road location. This application just seeks, as the staff report said, to create a little bump out along the road in order to put in a driveway prior to the end of the road. So the driveway would not be, we're not extending past the end. We're just making another driveway along the edge of the road.
Do either of the committee members have questions on this?
Bill here. The driveway, would that be for lot 6 or lot 5? Or what lot's the driveway for?
It's actually for part 10 of 19R 3776. So it's not, it's just past lot 6 on the registered plan there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Pat, did you have any questions?
No, I can sympathize with them having to carry propane tanks out the hill. No problem.
The only question I have that there seems to be a little, there needs to be some clarity around less saying that it's a right of way, not considered to be a road, but the County Roads Department suggests that because it would actually allow as many as 4 lots to have access, that it would be considered to be a road. And there were some conditions associated with that.
Sorry, I was referring to the road, and as Chris elaborated, just that the current road is in place and it's just enlarging the current road. And I believe there was a comment from Rose, but maybe we can establish how many lots are being serviced by that. Because I understand that the county roads comment was 4 lots. If we can clarify that from either the owners or the agent on that, in that regard. My comment was use the existing road and just enlarge it. So perhaps just the wording on that. Maybe Chris has a.
And Dan or Diane might know better than I. The road, I believe, only actually services would service 3 cottages with the extension. It's servicing 2 now. I believe it goes through 2 parcels owned by Heman. But it's, it's part of their contiguous property, more or less. I don't know if Dan or Diane, if you guys could comment on that.
Sure. So the current road services the Heyman property, which is the, I believe it's lot 8. It'll be the waterfront beside the 3 registered lots. So Jay and Carol have road access to their property. It additionally services lot 4. And it services the lot beyond us. And I don't see a lot number on the survey or the plan. So there's 3 properties that it currently services, and we would be the 4th.
So in fact, the county roads are right that it would be servicing 4 lots.
Yeah.
I just wonder, Chris, have you seen those conditions?
Well,
Go ahead, Diane.
that's an interesting point, if I could just speak to that, because yes, because Jay and Carol's property has the road. So that essentially is their driveway. But the road, I guess potentially the road is only servicing 3 lots because it's Carol and Jay's driveway. So I guess it's how you word it, the schematics or the semantics of it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It's just whether or not they assign a road name to it.
That's right.
So which I don't think anyone would object to giving it a name.
That's basically the point. I don't think that it's an onerous thing, but it just needs to be acknowledged that.
Yep.
Okay.
But just to be clear, we're servicing 4 lots. That's why you need the road name, correct?
Correct. So are there any questions from anyone? So do the conditions, Lisa, on the resolution include that requirement for naming the road?
I believe so. Just let me confirm. Yes, so condition 7, the right of way will service 4 lots. Therefore, the right of way will be classed as a road. The road will require a name under County Bylaw 3885. The applicant shall ensure that a road name has been assigned to the County of Haliburton, by the County of Haliburton Public Works Department. Costs associated with the establishment of the new road name shall be borne by the applicant.
Any further questions or comment?
No.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder then to put the resolution on the floor? Moved by Pat, seconded by Bill.
The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-014 of 21, owner Ronald J. and Carol Ann Heeman. Location of the property, part lot 7 and 8, concession 8 and 9, geographic township of Dudley, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to grant an easement for right-of-way. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's carried. Thank you very much, folks.
I'm going to leave Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, as he is the agent for the next file as well.
For Ellis, and Ellis.
Yes. So we have file H-015 of 21. Owner Cheryl Ellis, Scott Ellis, and the estate of Charlene Ellis. Location of the property is part lot 22 and 23, concession 22, geographic township of Cardiff, now in the municipality of Highlands East. Purpose of the application is to create a new lot.
The application is obviously to create a new lot. The new lot has some accessory buildings, but it doesn't have a primary building. So the township is asking that it be rezoned. The Subject lines are also subject to, sorry, that was a double. In terms of MDS, there is a barn and the applicant submitted, the agent rather submitted a MDS application complete, drew it on. It meets MDS requirements. Everything else is in order in terms of policy, sizing. It's just that the one lot, the severed lot, doesn't have a building. So the municipality, township, Highlands East is asking for a rezoning to permit buildings without a primary building. In other words, accessory to absent without a dwelling. The retained lots also, if a building another building wanted to be placed there, because that's where the agriculture component is, then there's room in between the severed and the retained barn in the southwest corner to build a building, a dwelling, and still meet the MDS. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too confusing. Chair?
Chris, did you wish to comment on the application?
I have nothing further to add on the application.
Okay.
Only one,
Do members of the committee have questions on the application?
No.
Hearing none, could I have a?
Madam Chair, if I can interrupt for a sec, sorry.
Absolutely.
This one, similar to 6.1, condition 3, we have the mention of the site development plan again. So I just ask if the committee would be willing to reword that back to a sketch to confirm that the buildings meet setback on the retain. So it's the same thing we hit in the last one in Highlands East there in 6.1. So same condition, same wording.
And I'll just add that the same, so as Chris said, similar to the previous file, it is the same municipality that we received comments on. And so I took the same standard condition based on their wording, which was the same as the file that we discussed earlier. So as he said, they haven't said a site development plan in their condition.
Oh, I see sketch of survey. So, okay, if you could make that change on the resolution. Okay, I think we're ready for a mover and a seconder on that resolution. Bill and Pat.
Okay. The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-015 of 21, owner Cheryl Ellis, Scott Ellis, and the estate of Shoreline Ellis. Location of the property, part of lot 22 and 23, concession 22, geographic township of Cardiff, now in the municipality of Highlands East. Purpose of the application to create a new lot, decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
All right.
Carried.
Okay, so I'm going to move Chris
Thank you,
back.
everyone.
Thanks, Chris.
I'm just going to step out for a sec.
I'll bring in the agent for the next file. Just 1 second. And so this is file H-016 of 21. The owner is the Haliburton Forest and Wildlife Reserve. Location of the property, lot 30 and parts of lots 26 through 29, concession 13, registered plan C95A, and instrument number H221783, geographic township of Guilford, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. The purpose of this application is to permit a lot addition to abutting lands.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. This is simply a lot addition, a large lot addition to an existing parcel. It was supported by a number of studies. It's on the lake. It was supported by a number of studies. Everything is in order in terms of policy procedure. However, just a little information for the applicant that it is an area that it needs to be rezoned to meet the waterfront zoning requirements of the township. And the second point is that it needs to be investigated further from an archaeological point of view if there's any applications or any development activity rather, I'm sorry. So it meets everything and needs a zoning change, and any further work would require careful excavation or archaeological investigation. And perhaps the agent or applicant can elaborate on their intent there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Jessica. I'm a junior planner from EcoView Consulting in Peterborough. We're here on behalf of the applicants. Les, I believe you gave a great explanation. I'm just here to answer any questions that any of the public might have, but I'm also here just to explain that I saw some comments from the public regarding what the future intended use of the lands are going to be, and it is for seasonal residential in the form of one single detached cottage. There's no additional development proposed at this time. And I believe that's really all. That's it. The lot addition is to provide additional frontage on Boyce Bradley Drive to the benefiting lands.
Okay, do either of the committee members have any questions? Pat?
Again, to the applicant, the land that's being transferred, was it zoning currently open space?
So through you, Mrs. Chair, the zoning, so between the benefiting lands and the lot addition lands, there's 4 zones that actually cover the entire parcel. So there's 2 waterfront residential zones, as well as an open space. And then the retained parcel has a rural zone. So a little portion of rural comes into the lot addition lands. At this point in time, we are intending to rezone the parcel. The municipality of Dysart is currently has our rezoning application to rezone the entire parcel to a waterfront residential type. I believe it's a type 3 zone. But yes, so there is an open space zone, I believe, on the currently on the lot addition parcels, but it's entirely going to be rezoned to waterfront.
If I can add into that, I think the township asked for the most restrictive zoning on that, Jessica, I believe. So the applicant and agent are pursuing the correct zoning in terms of the most restrictive.
I believe that will include site plan agreements, will it? WR3.
I don't believe at this point in time we had.
My concern is that property, if it was zoned open space, was not allowed to be built on other than a public, other than a pagoda or that type of thing, but there's no cottage construction allowed in open zone. So, or open space, I'm sorry. So if you are going through, then I believe the WR3 is maybe subject to a site plan agreement, but I just want to be sure that when it comes forward, Dysart will know comment further.
Yeah. I'm not, I believe the open space zone, it's a very small portion of the lot. So if anything, that portion can be remained intact. We can discuss that with the municipality. As far as we understand, we can rezone the rest of it to the waterfront residential.
And that's where a site development plan would come in terms of site development plan, site plan control. Depends on the application itself or the pursuit of that.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to this application that's present, Lisa?
No.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'd like a mover and a seconder to put the motion on the floor, please. Pat and then Bill.
The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application number H-016 of 21, owner Haliburton Forest and Wildlife Reserve, location of the property lot 30 and parts of lots 26 through 29, concession 13, registered plan C95A and H221783, geographic township of Guilford, now in the municipality of Dysart et al. Purpose of the application to permit a lot addition to abutting lands. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will move Jessica out, and then I will bring in the property owner for the next application. So he's representing himself. So we have file H-017 of 21, owners Andrew and Yvonne Jack. Location of the property, part of lot 18, concession 3, geographic township of Minden, now in the township of Minden Hills. Purpose of the application to create a new lot together with an easement for right of way.
Okay, Les?
Oh, sorry, I thought we were just bringing somebody in. So the applicant's looking to sever a parcel for a single family dwelling. Right now, as the lot is configured, it doesn't meet requirements in terms of frontage and for zoning. There's also major concern regarding evaluation of the site in terms of physical and natural features. There are identified unevaluated wetlands in the eastern portion, the retained lands. That generally requires at least some sort of study to establish buffers, setbacks, and just general characteristics of the property, the subject lands in total, as well as the context. So that wasn't asked for by previous planning departments or sections or the township. So we're recommending that perhaps defer or provide as a provisional consent the applicant the opportunity to get that study done, and perhaps on that study recommendations to identify, mitigate, address any potential development opportunities of the single family dwelling. That would also assist in terms of lot configuration to meet frontage, as well as, for example, the housing location, the dwelling location rather, any tile beds, backup beds, that type of thing. It's just due diligence. The applicant should have some time to address that, and that's why the recommendation was for deferral. But the committee can also decide to go a different direction. But we can work with the client in terms of the applicant in terms of the study itself. But some sort of technical study giving us that information would be appreciated, or supporting the application. And I was on site, so I'm familiar with the property as well. Madam Chair.
So it would sound like the applicant has a choice of either deferral while an agreement is reached on what type of site evaluation report or the extent of a report is required, or the application could go forward with this as a condition. And
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Lisa, did you have something to add?
Just that basically what you said, we could add the condition that a site evaluation report be provided before final consent is granted. But if that's the case, then it has to be done within the 1 year time period. Whereas if we defer the decision, it gives the applicant the opportunity to get the study underway before the 1 year clock starts ticking.
Okay. And would, if the application is deferred, are there any additional fees associated with the application itself? Not with the development of a site plan, but with the application?
Not in terms of administrative fees with the county. We just haven't made a decision yet, and it will come back later and we can make a decision then. There's no additional fee for that, no.
Mr. Jack, you wish to speak to the application?
Oh, you're muted.
You're on mute.
Sorry.
We can have you.
Apologize
fuzzy,
for the
but
bad video. I hope you can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so the site evaluation report obviously came as a bit of a surprise to us, and Lisa did answer my question in terms of timing. I think since I have no idea what's involved in getting the report done and the way things are as far as timeframes for getting things done now, probably would be better to defer. I, obviously like to proceed with it, but I think it makes more sense to defer. I think, we're pretty confident on almost 40 acres of land with a 5-acre severance, that we're going to find areas that are suitable for the proposed purposes. In terms of the lot frontage, the way that was determined was based on an existing corner bar on the property, and that seemed like a logical location to draw the severance line, given that the additional frontage would create an awkward triangular portion to the lot due to the turning of the lot line quite an angle to the south. So we don't really have a concern with increasing the lot frontage. I mean, the property does meet the minimum area requirement without that, but like I say, it does create a bit of an awkward situation, especially once we put the right of way through. That little triangular portion will be almost like an island that's bisecting the lot by our driveway that's existing now. Just on a couple of the other things, it's been well known to us that any access to the property will be from Conestoga Road and not from County Road 21. So I think that answers the neighbor's concern in terms of proximity of any building to his existing dwelling. Just based on typical setbacks, no one's going to go to the center or to the county road side to build the house. They'll be on the Conestoga side, and that would put a separation distance of 150 to 200 meters between the existing dwelling and the proposed location for a building. And in terms of Ducks Unlimited, that's the wetlands to the north of the property, and it has the same thought there, that any building would be far enough away from that area that's identified on the property as a wetland by Ducks Unlimited. So generally, I guess my only comment is that, if deferral is the way to go, if you're going to request the site evaluation report, then like to defer the application, and hopefully to Mr. Jagoda's comment, that we're able to get some assistance in moving that forward.
Okay, do either of the committee members have questions of anyone?
I agree with just what's been said about deferring it. Yeah.
So do we need a resolution for deferral, or we do? Okay, good.
I have one more question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. The question was asked about further fees for this application. I think when I read in the fee tariff schedule that there's a peer review fee for the SER, is that something that would be typically applied? And do you know what that cost might be?
Yeah, so if I may, it's a $5,000 deposit. Whatever's not used of those funds is returned at the end of the process. So when the deeds are stamped, or if the file doesn't come through when it lapses, but presuming that it will go through and be finalized, you get the remainder of the deposit back when the deeds are finalized.
I see. Okay, it's a pretty hefty deposit. Hopefully they don't use much of it. Thank you.
Could I have a mover and a seconder then for deferral? Bill, and then Pat.
So the undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application H-017 of 21, owner Andrew and Yvonne Jack, location of the property, part of lot 18, concession 3, geographic township of Minden, now in the municipal, oh my goodness, sorry, that's wrong. 1 second. Now in the township of Minden Hills, it was just written wrong on the sheet. Everything that I said is right. I stopped myself before I said the wrong part. So the purpose of the application is to create a new lot together with an easement for right-of-way. Decision that the application be deferred.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you, Mr. Jack.
Thank you.
And we do not have anyone present to represent the final file. So I will introduce it. H-018 of 21, the owner is Gerald Rowland. Location of the property is Plan 343 WLY 200 Lot 7 and Plan 343E Part Lot 6, Geographic Township of McClintock, now in the Township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application is to create a new lot.
This application, as Lisa says, to create a new lot. It's basically to redivide or divide the existing lot back into the original. It was a merged lot. So what happened is the two lots merged accidentally. They want to basically recreate the existing boundaries, parcel sizes in terms of structure, zoning, frontage, area. Everything is fine. However, there was, since it's on McFadden or Crozier Lake, it's a lake that requires assessment. So back in summer of 2020, consultant provided a lake assessment, water quality assessment report, submitted that to the Ministry of Natural Resources, and they in January accepted the results of that and provided a letter to the county regarding that is now at capacity. And it should be updated in all the official plans, but they have no concerns with the application to basically sever the two merged lots back as they were. Madam Chair.
Are there any questions from the committee members?
No.
Pretty straightforward. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Pat, seconded by Bill.
The undersigned members of the Land Division Committee for the County of Haliburton certify that the following constitutes their decision to the consent application described below. Application number H-018 of 21, owner Gerald Rowland. Location of the property, Plan 343 WLY 200 Lot 7 and Plan 343E Part Lot 6, Geographic Township of McClintock, now in the Township of Algonquin Highlands. Purpose of the application to create a new lot. Decision that provisional consent be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Okay, I don't believe we have any correspondence for information.
That's correct.
Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the April statistics?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
You have a resolution to accept that, Lisa, yes or no?
Yeah, we need a mover and a seconder.
Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder, Bill and Pat?
So moved by Bill Blake, seconded by Pat Kennedy. Be it resolved that the Land Division Committee receives the following report for information purposes. 8.1 statistics, April 30th, 2021.
All in favor?
Great.
That's carried. Do we have any other business to conduct? No. No closed session.
Is I don't know if everyone's aware of the planning issues that are being dealt with a consulting company for the city of Minden Hills North or the township. I don't know if we want to take it offline or.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand.
No, sorry, there's anything to do with planning matters are now being dealt with by a consulting company that's been hired by the township and instead of an individual. So I don't know if that's going to be a permanent-ish matter or is it just a temporary matter at the moment. So I don't know if it has any impact on what Lisa has to do or that the second last report that we dealt with where there was a site evaluation report required. If it's sent into the township, it will be a consulting company dealing with it.
So just to add to that, actually who they've hired, as far as I understand, is the same company that's filling in for Charles C. right now. So they're working with us at the county as well. So it's the same company, yeah.
Okay.
So that would be Wills.
Yeah, DM Wills, yeah.
And Bill, anything that would go to be handled by DM Wells as a consultant. They're acting as the planners. So I'll be contacting them as well in terms of any requirements and any issues, but they're kind of overseeing that.
Okay, cool. Just wasn't sure if You
If
all
we're aware. Yeah. Okay, so our next committee meeting, I believe, would be the 14th of June. Is that correct?
So we don't have any files that will have to go to June. We do have 2 files that are being circulated right now, but their 90-day time period won't be until July. So we'll plan for a July meeting instead of June.
Okay, so July the 12th then. Is that correct?
I believe so. I can.
That's the second Monday.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody for their patience and understanding as I'm fairly new and I'm getting caught up. I think I'm more comfortable with those last reports. You could probably agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got to cut you some slack for a little while.
Yeah, a little while, right?
Just a little while.
First
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I guess I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Pat, moved by Pat and seconded by Bill.
Be it resolved that the Land Division Committee meeting of May 10th, 2021 be hereby adjourned at 8:15 p.m.
Well done, Liz. We got through all of the
Better than I thought.
Yes, a lot better.
Thank you. And thanks to Lisa and Les. I know that we're
Yes.
working under less than optimum conditions, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Everybody, great job there, new Madam Chair.
Thanks, Pat. I didn't expect this to happen, but oh well, it is what it is.
You never know.
Bye-bye.
And we
Right,
have
see you in
no
July.
agenda. We have an-
Yeah, see you in July. Bye.
Right now.
Okay, bye, guys.
Right.